Alright guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I believe this will be the last last episode for the introduction to Adobe Photoshop. Over the past couple of weeks, we've learned a lot when it comes to Adobe Photoshop, the interface, learning some of the tools within Photoshop itself, and then capping it up with design principles and also design elements which we treated last week. So what we are going to do today is to basically put all of this together to come up with a simple design so you can appreciate the software and also the art of design itself. So prior to this video, I've downloaded a couple of assets or elements I'll be using in my design. So I think we are around the season of Black Friday. Companies or shops or retailers or wholesalers reducing their prices so people can purchase their goods. So we are going to design a very simple social media ad or a header, or website header for a company that's into selling sneakers, running shoes. Alright, so without wasting much time, we jump straight into our Photoshop software. And before I continue, please thanks once again for the support, the like, the comments. I really appreciate it. And alright, so what we're going to do is first create a new folder, and then let's create 920 by 1080. I usually like to increase my resolution to 150 depending on when it has to go to print and so on and so forth. So we create our canvas to 920 by 1080p. Alright, so I'm not going to go through the concept development and so on and so forth because I've already done that. I just want to see the implementation of the design. Later on in my subsequent videos, maybe we'll look at how to come up with ideas, where to get some design elements and so on and so forth. So like I said earlier, I've downloaded a couple of assets I'll be using for the design. Sometimes you might download something at the end of the day you're not going to use it, but you have to download whatever you think will help you achieve your goal, your design goal, right? So now when it comes to design, first and foremost, I like to create the background has to be able to hold all the elements. The background should be in such a way that every element that is on it has a space, has a breathing space, and also very visible. So you have to pay attention to the background and then the elements and the arrangement of the elements. Now when it comes to this, a preset canvas, so it has some grid lines to help you arrange your work very nice. But I also like to put a center line so I know where the center of my design is. So I'm adding these two lines, so this is exactly my center, and then that will come in handy whenever design processes. So what we are going to do is first save the file. It is very important. You don't want to get to a point where the machine crashes or there's power outages and you've not saved your design. So Adobe YouTube tutorials design. Alright, so that's going to be the name of our file. So we save it, and then as and when the design is ongoing, we just Ctrl S and we are saving it as and when the progress is ongoing. So what I'm going to do is first, like I said earlier, we are going to design Black Friday, like social media ad or a website header to let people know that maybe a company A, this time I'm using Nike. This is not a paid advertisement. I'm just using their logo just in case because some of the shoes here are not Nike related, so I might not even use it. But let's go on. So first, what I want to do, the elements, I have the 4 elements. that's the shoes I'll be using, the running shoes I'll be using. Try to import all of them in and find a way to detach them from the background. So I only need the shoe, the running shoe, and that alone. I don't want any other thing to come in play. So some images, so this is a JPEG, so it has a white background, which can easily be taken out. This is also a JPEG with a white background. This, fortunately for us, is a PNG, so it's already come without any background, so we are not going to do anything with it. We are not going to do any selection. And then this also has a white background, so I'm going to take away the white background using the available selection tools we have, like we discussed previously: quick selection, magic wand, polygonal, lasso tool, magnetic lasso tool, and so on and so forth. So you use any of them to cut out the background. So I'm going to speed up this process and then move on. Alright, so back to the design. After taking out all the background elements, we drag them into our main canvas. So we're done with this, so close. Actually, don't close them till I'm done with the full project, but let's do this for now. Close this, drag this in, drop, close this, no, and then our last sneaker. It has a huge resolution, so you realize. But let's convert all this to smart object before we start playing around with the sizes. Convert to smart object. Right. So with the design concepts, I'm going to have one shoe being the main shoe, and the others are going to be like secondary shoes where the prices are going to be attached. But one of the running shoes, that's what is going to take much emphasis with the design. It's going to attract the reader or the viewer. And I think amongst this shoe, I think this one calls for much attention. One, also you need to take into consideration the color scheme you are going to be using. Now when you look at the internet and you search for Black Friday, most of the flyers you see, or I say like 95% of the flyers you see, are going to be red and black. The color schemes are red and black. It's a couple of times I've seen yellow being used on Black Friday flyers or artworks. So the main colors are going to be black and red, and I think this will blend in very well. The black Nike running shoe here will blend in very well with the design. So these three are going to be our primary shoe, and I really like to name my layers so I know what I'm dealing with. So secondary shoe 1, we have second shoe 2, these are main primary shoe. I'll bring this up to the top. So the rest are all secondary shoe, so same as this. Alright, so let's hide the remaining 3 and work with this for now, so we are able to get its place on the design, and the others can pick around the remaining space, the remaining white space of the design. So now what we are looking at is, one, the text associated with the design. So the main text here will be Black Friday, so that also has to call for attention. I usually use Notion to create, have a design folder where I track most of my designs, but I'm going to create a new folder so that I'll let you know. So let's say designs, let's create a board. Gives you, it helps you track your design. So let's say a company approached me, so Black Friday deals or sales, and the details are placed here. So Black Friday, another text maybe up to 60% off or discount, and what else? So apart from the main shoe, the other schools and the other shoes are going to be in stock. So let's say in stock, other text that will appear within, and then maybe somewhere we can write sneakers or running shoe. Yeah, I think we can work with this text and the images we have. So if I have this information, I put it there, and then as and when the design is started, in progress, or completed, I'm able to move and track most of my design work. This is not in any way promoting Notion, but I really love the software, and it really helps me arrange my design process and design thoughts very well. So back to my design. Now let's hide this and bring in the backgrounds I downloaded. So I have a couple of backgrounds that I think might help me. So I downloaded this this kind of abstract design and a smoke effect, and I think this. So let's see. First, let's bring in this. So the reason why I brought in this, I wanted just some curved lines at the edge, not the whole design. So I'm going to expand this and just have it lined somewhere around here, just to give it some lines in the design, not the whole artwork. So somewhere around here, I think it's perfect. Let's bring in our other I'll be needing this, but let's bring it in. Let's bring it in. Expand to cover the whole canvas, but let's hide it for the time being. And also the smoke effect. The smoke effect, and expand for now, and hide that as well. So with this, these are three backgrounds: BG1, BG2, and then BG3. But first, let's have a solid background of red, because that's going to be our main, that's going to be our primary color. So solid, and choose somewhat a darker shade of red. This is too bright, so a darker shade of red. I think that will be fine. That will be very good. Alright, so let's drag this to the bottom right of the bottom, and then show up our shoe. So we're having this. There's text. Let's start to bring in the text and see where the arrangement is going to be. So we have Black Friday up to 60% off in stock, and then sneaker or running shoe. So the main text is going to be Black Friday. So let's Black Friday. Now that the font is also a very critical thing to look at. And in general rule of thumb, when you're designing designing an artwork, you shouldn't use more than 3 fonts in one design. Most of the times, some people suggest 2 maximum. So I'm going to be working with Montserrat, yeah. So let's have black, but I don't want it just lying there straight like that. I want it to have some effect to it, something that will call for attention. So I'm going to make this kind of a slanted image, slanted text. The Montserrat, the family of text doesn't really have, there's italic, but I don't want it to be like a text and then italic. I want it to have the effect. It's not italic, but to have the effect of it. So increase and then raise this up to have some kind of effect to it. Think something like this, that's fine. Alright, so black. So the others are all going to have this effect to it. So you can duplicate by holding on Alt and then drag, so it duplicates the text. So when you're on the element, you can hold on Alt or Option on MacBook, and then you drag and you have a duplicate. So black. The next text is Friday. Black Friday. Friday. Alright. So I'm going to center both of these texts, but I want the width to be the same. So let's reduce the size of the Friday and see. So it has the same width with the black on top. I think this is just a little bit. Yep. I think this does it. Okay, yeah. I think this does it. So you have Black Friday, and I think we can bring in the up to 60% off around it. So it's either at the bottom or at the top. But we also have another text that is in stock or sales. It has to be something because alright. So let me bring this. Let's duplicate this and then have machine wants to play around to me this morning, but it's not going to happen. Alright, so up to 60% off. Alright, so let's reduce the size of this, but I want it to be a bit smaller in size. But when it becomes a bit smaller, it becomes lost around the Black Friday because both of them are very huge. So maybe contrast it by changing the color. So let's have white. Sometimes you can decide, you can start with the text and then whilst you are going on, you can change the colors as and when. So we are doing this together. So let's see how it ends up at the end of the day. So up to 60% off. I like to center, so I select Black Friday. I select the 3 and then center them. Alright, so 60% off. It's a bit detached. Alright, okay, yeah, I think we are getting there. We're getting there. So Black Friday, it's a sale, Black Friday sale or something like that. So let's introduce the text. Black Friday. But I want it to have the same italic feel as the rest of the text. So let's duplicate and then sales. Let's have some. Alright, now we have this, but it's kind of becoming boring as you go on. You have the Montserrat text for the top, the Montserrat text, another Montserrat text. So let's introduce a second font and then see how it does. I think an italic font will kind of draw some attention to it. Most recently I've been using these two fonts for a couple of times. Okay, let's try the Cervantes. Okay, so I think the Cervantes is quite spread, and I'm not really liking the. Let's go back to the Britney's signature. Yeah, I think this does it. This does it. But let's use it for now and see how it goes. Alright, so sales, let's increase the size to cover some width. Okay, yeah, let's change it to white so it calls for attention. And yeah, I think we're getting there. We are getting there. Alright, so for now let's group all our texts for now, and then maybe revisit it and then see how it goes. So I think we've imported the Black Friday sales. You've used this and then in stock and run issue. Alright, so I'm looking at having, so you see the design is quite bringing itself up. So let's hide all the elements and then see. So the text will be somewhere around here, the Black Friday text, the image here, the image of the shoe here, and some adjustment layers to really draw attention to it. And then maybe the other shoes will line up down here. Yeah, will line up down here to listed and then prices and so on and so forth. Alright, so we have some kind of idea of where we are placing each of them. So our text, move to, let's bring it up. Yeah, we can play with the size later on, but what I want to do next is to bring in the main. Let's hide the grid lines and then play around with it. Let's play around with it. So let's increase. I think if you have just one shoe, one pair of the shoe, it's not going to really cut it. So let's duplicate it and see how we can play around with it. So duplicate, when there are sides like this, kind of put the reader off or the viewer off. Alright, so you know what, let's transform this, let's flip this. Okay, let's put this behind. Alright, and let's decrease the size so that it looks like there are two shoes, but from the point of view, one is closer and then the other is further away. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, I think we're getting there. We're getting there. And one thing you need to really pay attention to is shadows when it comes to design. Yeah, I think these two, getting somewhere. Let's bring in the grid lines and see where exactly they'll fit. Okay, I think somewhere around here it's perfect. So make space for the other secondary shows. Okay, all right. So now what I want to do is kind of dull. It's kind of, the shoe itself is a bit dull. It's a bit dull to my liking. So let's duplicate this. And then let me open my camera raw filter. Let's do some adjustments to the see. Right. So this somewhat kind of an aspect of what's the name, Adobe Lightroom, where you can edit an image. I have a couple of presets that I usually run through until I get a feel of what I'm actually looking for. I think this chill out, so it kind of pops out the color. Okay, so let's use this and see how it comes out. Alright, there's some difference. Sorry, let me redo. So I use the chill out preset. Let's apply the same here, but I want it to be on the because this filter is let's apply the same filter to the show behind the presets. Chill out. Yeah, we might end up using the same smart filter for the other secondary shoes, but for now let's pay attention to this and then try to call for attention to it. Alright, and we can hide these shoes for now. But okay, let's bring in the other backgrounds and see how we can bring them into merge well with the red color fill we have. So the first we have is this, which I want it to be under, and then change the blending mode of the color fill so that it gives way for that background to show off or to appear. Okay, I think we have our lines, but there are some zigzags in there we didn't want. Alright, let's work with this. So you have the red background still visible, and then the background, the line, the curved lines still visible in some way. Okay, I think we can do more with the background. Let me bring this in. Let's drag it down above the red. Alright, so we can play around with the blending option so that it sort of disappears, because we still want the background to appear red. So it sort of disappears, but some elements of it still appears. I think when we darken it, it allows for the other elements, multiply, linear group, brings out a lot of the elements. I think let's multiply for now. Let me see. Multiply for now. So I think the background is kind of taking shape. The background is taking shape because I wanted to have the feel I wanted to have with like a rough feel to it, but also a smoky feel. So let's introduce a smoke option. Drag on top of all of it, and then also go through the blending options till we have one that makes the smoke appears but also doesn't cancel all the other layers beneath it. Let's see. I think overlay. Let's overlay and reduce the opacity. Let's see. I think we can reduce the opacity of the dotted lines as well. Yep. So we still have, okay, let me reduce this. I'm in between the darken and multiply, darken, multiply. Okay, let's work around with the multiply for now. Okay, so I think our background is kind of taking shape, but let's bring the text in and see how the whole thing looks. Okay, this is going good. This is going great. So you can increase the size of this. Yep. And bring it down a bit, a notch down. Okay. Yep. Alright. So I'm just in my mind, so sorry if I'm not really communicating very. I'm just in my mind, just bringing up the concept as I go along. Digitizing it. I have the concept in mind, sort of like I explained. There's a text here, there's shoe here, and the other shoes here. Those who have the prices, this is just to call for attention to the whole artwork. Alright. Okay, I think we're heading somewhere. But this is too dotted for me. I don't know. One trick that I've also been able to employ over the couple of years is the main image that is being used to draw for attention. I usually kind of duplicate it and then put it in the background, enlarge it, and reduce the opacity, so it kind of covers the background. So like it's very huge in the background, and it takes a very peculiar or very particular space within the whole artwork, drawing for much attention. So let me apply this and then see. So let me bring up this. That's the original shoe. Let's flip it, transform, edit, transform, flip horizontally, enlarge the size, send it to the corner somewhere here. Yep. And then drastically reduce the opacity. Drastically. Yeah, drastically reduce the opacity. Let me play with the blending tools and see. Okay, it's not bad. It's too visible. It's kind of distractive. Yeah, I think so. You don't want it to be too visible here, but you want it to be visible as well. You don't want it to be too visible, but you want it to be visible. And so let me increase the size, the thing, the opacity. I think try 16. Yeah, I think this cuts it. Background, but in the background it's very yep. So let's see. So you have these two shoes, these two running shoes. Alright, so I think the other shoe will line up here. That's the three shoes we have here. So let me hide them for now, drag them to the top and see what we can do with them. Alright, so I think placing them on a shape, on a shape will kind of give it some kind of attention. And then we need a area where we are going to write the amount or the price of the shoe. And I think something very small like this. Let's fill white and then stroke to nothing. Now it's beneath the shoe, that's why you're appearing here, but we don't want that. So let's drag it all the way to the top and then have some curved lines around, give it some curvature. I think increase the width a bit. So we are going to have this appear, one, another one here, another one here, with a shoe on top and the price being beside it. So I think this, let me, click and drag, and them to have the same distance between themselves. Okay, so you can click the three and then space them out equally. Yeah, I think this will do the magic. Yep. So each of the three shoes will have be placed on top of it. I think beside it we can have the in stock. Yeah, what we have in stock, because the text, one of the text is in stock. Alright, so let's introduce that text, but it's not going to be curved, it's going to be very straight, so it doesn't, you don't want, because when you started with a slanted text, every other text on it has to be, no, it doesn't have to be that. This is slanted because you are trying to call for attention to that text, so it's good to serve its purpose. Now the in stock here is not really serving much of a purpose, even though it should make it a bit readable. So in stock, okay, definitely I'm not going to use this font. So let's come back to the fonts. Like we said, we are not going to use more than 2 fonts on this, so we are sticking to the Britney signature, that's the handwritten calligraphy kind of text, and then the Montserrat. I think let's bolden it up. Let's bold it. I think extra bold, because we are going to reduce the size. So let's reduce the size and change the color to white. 25. Let's see how it looks beside the text. I think maybe a shape on top of it. I don't know, I'm just thinking maybe it will help it stand out well. Let me bring it in and see. Sometimes something comes to mind, you implement it, you are designing. If it doesn't work like the way it appears in your mind, it's just a delete. The delete option is available at any point in time. So let's do black, and then no stroke. I don't know, the white around it. Yep, I think. Alright, so let's leave it for now. Maybe at the end of the day it will serve some kind of purpose. Okay, center with the text. Yep, let me group this. Maybe later on there's no need for the black, and then we come in delete it, but for now let's leave it and see how it appears. Let's leave it. So control save whilst you're doing your work. You don't want to lose anything. Anyway, I think we are getting there. We are almost done. We're almost done. Okay, so let's work on the shadows around the shoe. Let's work on the shadows around the shoe. So you have the perspective you are giving is one shoe is closer, the other is further behind, but they will have some shadows to it. They will have a bit of a shadow to it. So let's assume the light. Let's assume the light is coming from this point. What can I use to show them? So let's assume that the light is moving from this point and it's beaming towards here. So that means let me deselect So if the light is beaming from here, that means the shadows are going to be underneath the sneakers. There are many ways of introducing shadows. One way is to have the layer, create a new layer, and then brush, bring it under the layer, and then brush, have a brush, and then brush where exactly you want the. Let's totally reduce the hardness. I think the size is okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's reduce the opacity. Reduce the opacity. You can always think this works. Yep. And also some shadow between the two pairs, I think. Yep. Okay. There's the illusion of, gives you the illusion of space between the two. Let me do that on a different layer so I can play around with that opacity differently. Yeah. Use the opacity for this. Okay. And then the shadow for the other shoe. New layer, bring it under, and then brush. Reduce the opacity. Yeah, so we are able to bring that. I'm not designing this to total perfection. I'm just taking you through so that see how it works. So I'm just taking you through so that you appreciate the design thought that goes into design, the process and everything. So you have the shoe, call it for attention, the text, up to 50% off Black Friday sales. I don't want to really touch on the text and have some shadow and everything. I think this perfectly, even though you can further go on and then do some touches to the Black Friday, the text itself, so it calls for much attention. But I think it's okay for now. I think it is. So let's bring in our shoe. So we have the rectangle 1, 2, and 3. So we have the first shoe. So let's bring it here. Let's transform it so that both the main shoe and the other shoes are all facing my left. Yeah, facing my left. But I think you should have some kind of coloration with the main shoe. So the main shoe is slanted and pointing downwards. So I think having the others do same would help, just for correlation, just to keep some balance to it. Yeah. Let's bring in our second shoe. That is on top of the second layer. I think this is already slanted in store, so we won't be doing much of a work here. So let's, yep. I think this does it. And the third shoe on the third box, reduce the size and slant away. Reduce the size and slant away. Yep. I think we've made some progress. We've made some progress. All right. So let's have the text. Let's have the text here. So this for the mesh. Alright, so let me group. I like to group so I'm not lost. So this is the first shoe, the first rectangle. Let's Control G. So shoe 1, and then group shoe 2, group shoe 3. Alright, so let's open up the group and then introduce the text element to it. That's the pricing. So I'm just going to use any price here. So let's say the text color is white, so it's not visible. Let's change it back to black, so we see what we are typing. So let's say it was 250 and maybe it's now like 150. So let's say 150. Old price was 250. Let's close the space between the text. Let's make the old price smaller. I think aligning to the right and then reducing the space between them. That's it. But now both of these texts are at the same place. They are pointing to the same elements. So we need to let the reader or the viewer know that one of them is not the current price or something of that sort, just to have some difference. Let's try a color contrast and see how it goes. So I think red. I think the whole design is kind of difficult to read. Let's change it to black and then introduce an element, maybe to cancel it off, something of that sort. I say some that there are a couple of designs that you see, old price, and then the old price is quite strike out. I almost said something different. So let's bring in a red rectangle, something to strike it out with. Let's take out the stroke, but it's covering the text, the whole text completely, so there's no way to read it. I think something like that. Let's reduce the opacity so that what's underneath is still visible to the reader. So the reader knows it's 250, and now the new price is what, 150. Yeah, I think this does the magic. So we're going to duplicate the text and the strike out to the other element. So let's duplicate, Control J, drag it to the next one. By seeing the next one, let me drag it to a different group. So this group. Okay, and then do same for the other, the third. The third two, and then put it in the right group. Okay, we're just going to maintain the price. They're all 250 and now 150. Alright, no, let's put some, let's spice it up. So I think this will be kind of maybe a bit more expensive, maybe 170, and it was, let's say, 300. Yep. And then I'm not really into shoes now. I'm getting the prices wrong, or averaging it very wrongly. So let's say this is like $125, and then previously was 200. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm not really concerned about this. Okay, so I think we're getting there. So at this point you have the crust of the whole design, so a couple of finishing touches, but we also wanted to have sneaker or running shoes. So and also the logo, completely forgot about the logo. let's bring in the logo and see where we can place the logo. Reduce the size completely, bring in our grid line so that it still appears, and maybe change the color. So we have some blending elements, blending options here. One of them is the color overlay. An element can have a color, and then you bring in the color, you overlay a color to it. So let's say white. Yep, I think somewhere around here. So placing the logos most of the time depend on the brand guideline. If the firm has a brand guideline, you definitely know exactly where to place the logo, where not to place the logo, the briefing space you need to put the logo, and so on and so forth. But we are not going to be doing that today. We don't have the brand guidelines for the Nike, so we just place it somewhere at the corner, hide the. Yeah, I think we get in there. We get in there. Let me change this rectangle stripe to white and see how it appears. Not bad. In stock. Not bad. Okay. Let me line that up to the whole text, so I can space the others. Third shoe. Or you can space all of them equally, so from the in stock to all the other 3 groupings, space them out and then drag them so that they are from one edge to the other. Yep. Now let's show this. Group this. And mind you, even if you are working with grid lines, sometimes images can go outside of the design. It's rather text that allows you need to be very careful on where you are placing your text and so on and so forth. Yeah, I think a bit bigger. Yep. Give it some briefing space away from the other shoes. Yeah. I think at this point you just need to design wise bring in some elements that will not really, at this point it's okay with me. I personally, it's okay with me. What I will do, maybe add some shadows to the shoes here so that they are separated from the rectangle, and then have some shapes around, just lying around, low opacity, just to help beef up the but I think at this point it's quite okay, so I'll just add those finishing touches and then we'll see the end result at the end. But I think that this is a good work. It's a good work, very straight to the point, very easy and very readable, so a user sees the first point of attention will be the shoe. Alright, so I have the shoe. What's this flyer about? The next, so you are sort of directing the user. So he first says this. Let me use the lasso tool. So the user says this. Okay, so what's this? You direct the user to this part of the artwork. So Black Friday up to 60% off sale. Oh wow, what do they have? You direct the person here. In stock. Oh cool. 150. What used to be 250. That's cool. 300. Oh, it used to 170. That's quite on a high. Oh, 200. 125. Cool. Yep, I want it. So that's it. It's very cool. Maybe what is left is a couple of the shapes I talked about, and maybe a contact information. So the social media pages, the contact, and so on and so forth. So we're going to add all that, and then I'm going to speed up that process up, and then we'll see the final work at the end of the day.